Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Obviously, this week is supposed to be kind of like a celebratory rally, but what goals do you have in mind over the next few days? Republicans already had their day in their convention. What are your goals by the end of the year? Such a contentious presidential race.
Well, the goal of this week is to send the message of what happens when you have progressive policies and what happens when you have policies that support working families, when you invest in education, when you bring down the cost of prescription drugs. What happens when Democrats are in charge is we get to move forward. And so we want to light that fire under Kamala and Tim and make sure that we launch them into the remaining days of this election to a victory on November 5th. It's really about the message. That's why we were successful in getting the convention here in Chicago, to talk about what a progressive state with progressive policies can do for America.
Hey, Senator, what do you make of the Democrats' ability to hold on to the Senate this fall, given the change at the top of the ticket?
I think we're going to have we always had a good chance of holding the Senate. I think that is a much stronger change. With what happened at the top ticket, that's even stronger now. We're not taking anything for granted. We're sending busloads of people into Wisconsin to work for Tammy Baldwin. I've been traveling a lot working for Sherrod Brown. We have to hold the Midwest. I've said time and again, people talk about the blue wall. Illinois is the rebar in that blue wall. We're the state that shows what our policies can do for the good of the nation and for working families. And so I'm very excited that we'll come back again and have Senate majority and have Tim Walz as the vice president to cast those votes for us. Well, I think that what's happening in Gaza is absolutely a humanitarian crisis. I've been calling for a mutual ceasefire. That's what has to happen. So far, the rejections of the ceasefire deal has come from the Hamas side of things, but we do need to continue to support our ally Israel. At the same time, we need to remember the hostages need to come home. Many of them have died in captivity, but we also have to work on getting humanitarian aid into Gaza. Something that I've been working on now for quite a while is to get more aid directly into Gaza so that it is not stopped by IDF forces, so that it can actually get to the people. That's where my focus is. So I am going to give a speech. I can't talk about what it's going to be about, but I'm really pleased that I'm going to be giving a speech that's really going to be talking about the policies that Kamala's going to push forward. But it'll be a surprise that day. IVF will definitely make its way into it, but I'll also talk about the military as well. Oh my gosh, you know what? We are going to give him all the flowers. I'm actually going to go meet him today as he lands, and I'll do the tarmac greeting. What Joe Biden has done is what George Washington did, stepped away from the halls of power for the good of the nation. And I spent part of Friday with him in the Oval Office. I think Speaker Welch was there with me when he used his Antiquities Act to declare a national monument in Springfield for the 1908 race riots. We're going to give him all the flowers. We're going to talk about the fact that he's probably the greatest labor president, the greatest renewal president we've had. And we're going to continue to support him. And you're going to see a big party tonight for him. Hi, I'm Marianne. You know, when I was in his office on Friday, I went there preparing to be bittersweet because when he called me to tell me, because I'm a campaign co-chair, when he called to tell me that he was dropping out of the race and he started to say that, and, you know, he said he's supporting Kamala, and I just said, you know, Mr. President, I just need a couple moments to grieve. I just need to cry a little bit. I understand, and I love Kamala, and I'm going to be there for her, but I just need to grieve for Joe Biden and who you are. And he said, no, this is about getting the work done, Tammy. I'm going to go get off the phone and go try to achieve a peace deal in Gaza. He was energized. On Friday when I saw him, he is about getting his agenda across the finish line in the time that he has left, and I think he's going to be even more active post-presidency with getting many of his agenda done. So yes, we're going to celebrate his achievements, but I think for me, he's going to be, you know, like a Jimmy Carter with this great work that he's going to continue past the presidency. So he was just upbeat and energized on Friday.
So Governor Pritzker alluded to his own re-election possibly and said it's
kind of up to MK. What do you think about him running again?
I think it would be great if he run again. Remember that we've had 6 balanced budgets and 9 credit upgrades under this governor. We were named the Midwest Hydrogen Hub. We've got the new Quantum Center that we brought in. He's been a real partner to me, and Christy George in particular has even traveled with me internationally to attract foreign direct investment into Illinois. So I'm really excited with what he's done, and the work that he's done also with the state legislature. The partnership there has really allowed our state to come forward in terms of, being a bastion for reproductive health care, for raising the minimum wage, all the stuff that we've done for working families. So I urge him to run again.
All right, that's all for today.
Thank you.
I'll take a couple.
Speaker, yeah, kind of like what Dave was asking about Pritzker's prospects for running for a third term. I mean, you have big supermajorities in the House and Senate. All constitutional offices are controlled by Democrats. What would a third term for Governor Pritzker mean for the state and for your working relationship?
Well, as I shared with Dave earlier, I think it means stability. I think it means continued progress. We will continue to move Illinois forward. The governor has said those comments to me several times before. So I've had an opportunity to kind of lobby his wife a few times and say, hey, I'd love for him to go for a third term. And I think I got a smile and a wink and an okay that he could do that. And so I'm certainly hoping and that he continues to be our governor.
Last week, Leader McComey mentioned wanting to wreck the Great 78. How are you feeling going into this cycle, and what could the Great 78 become?
Listen, I feel great about the 78, and we've done a lot of great things together here in the last 2 years. We have continued the progress that we started when I first became Speaker, but I do believe that we can elect more Democrats in 24. You heard Eric Sorensen say he's a great meteorologist, folks, and the winds right now favor Democrats performing well in November. And we're going to do everything we can to elect Democrats who share our vision for what Illinois should look like. There's a lot of progress that we can continue to make on women's rights, workers' rights, labor rights, you name it. There's still more work to be done.
Mr. Speaker, when you talk about workers' rights, there's a status hearing this week at the motion to dismiss the lawsuit against worker workers' rights. What ultimately hope comes out of that situation, and how does that affect your message this week of workers' rights?
Well, my record is clear. Coming from a labor family, I am a big supporter of union rights. But we have a law in place currently that I have fought to change. I passed a bill out of the House overwhelmingly. I stand by that bill. I'm hoping that the Senate moves that bill to the governor's desk and the governor signs it. There is a way to change the law. And I believe that the courts will recognize that the way the plaintiffs have decided to go with that is the incorrect way. I would encourage them to support the bill that I filed. I worked with several folks in the drafting of that. And if we need to change it and make it better, we should do that. But we have to change the law.
Speaker, do you have any idea where Mayor Johnson was? What do you make of his absence from the breakfast this morning?
Mayor's a very busy guy. I got to imagine he's in demand all across the city this morning. He's welcoming 50,000 visitors to his city. And so I got to believe, he's just somewhere else doing the job that a mayor does. I'm looking forward to seeing him at the convention center and giving a speech and getting us all excited about what we have to do ahead. Yep. What happened to Sonia Massey is horrific and tragic and should never happen to anyone, ever. And so what I have said since the world has seen that video is that we should always look to find ways to continue to shine a light on those situations. If it wasn't for the Safety Act, we wouldn't have had that video that we have. What else can we do to continue to bring transparency to what happens out there on the streets? I think we have to be open to that, and if there's some changes to make, we're going to make those changes. Amanda? I don't know the answer. I think we have to listen to people. Part of this job is listening to those who probably know more than we do. After we've heard from advocates and those who believe that there's better ways to do it, make a decision. You know, I think we're going to hear that just because Democrats are diverse. What you saw in Milwaukee was not a lot of diversity. And the diversity that we present this week, you're gonna see progressive voices, moderate voices. You're gonna see that everyone's voices are included in the Democratic Party, in our platform. And that's why we're gonna be able to bring those people in to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I think just listening to the governor himself, you're going to hear why moderates are going to be well represented in Washington. Last question. Last question.
Can you address that? Are those concerns legit? Are people going to have to face reality after the convention?
So here's how I respond to what the other party has said. Let's remember how the former president mishandled the COVID crisis. Let's remember how he made it a divisive issue while he was president. It took President Joe Biden to come into office and to handle that crisis properly. It took Joe Biden to renew this country and put us on the right path. You know, what we have seen is unprecedented job growth under this president. We've seen unprecedented investment in America through the Infrastructure Act. We've seen so many great things happen under President Biden, things that we haven't seen since FDR. And so what we have to do is base things on facts, not rhetoric and innuendo, and look at the record and know that we're moving in the right direction, and we want to continue moving in that direction. And that's forward, not backward. Thank you all so much.